in the way the results transmission system worked. IEBC had deployed a sophisticated system which included the KIMS kit. Presiding officers were required to take a photo or to scan the results declaration form, send it to Bomas, and they're also required to key in the number of votes for each candidate. So because they were sending numeric data, the numeric data was tallying or tabulating automatically. So we then had on the screen at Bomas this running tally that was being called provisional results that helped Kenyans know quite early. In fact, by late the night of the elections, you already could see the trends of the voting. And by the day after, there was clarity about who was likely to win the elections. But allegations then were raised by the NASA team that there might be an algorithm that is taking the numeric data and altering it to create a predetermined difference between the winner and the loser. So they said there's an algorithm, that's why we are losing. And because the results were being tallied numerically very quickly, they were being called provisional results, then the allegation was, the second allegation was that possibly because this numeric tally is so evident even before the 34Bs have been prepared, and while 34As in some places are still being prepared, people are actually altering. The presiding officers at the polling station level, the constituency returning officers, actually altering the forms to this predetermined outcome. And so the Supreme Court took these allegations or claims very seriously, as they are meant to, because they are a court of law. And they asked IEBC, please open the server. We want to know whether anyone had access to your system, whether there was any algorithm. And then you remember that drama in which IEBC was a bit reluctant to open their server. They gave several claims about security challenges and so on. And eventually, when the court gave a ruling that they opened the server, they said that, oh, the server is hosted in France. We couldn't reach our operators in France. They're asleep. So they gave only partial access as opposed to the full access required. That partial access was still useful for the party agents to download some data, but the court concluded that it wasn't complete access. And that's one of the reasons why IEBC results were faulted. This time, IEBC structured the platform differently. First of all, they removed the numeric data, so that the only thing that was being sent were these scanned photos. And because there are 46,000 polling stations, even yourselves as the media houses, you tried to tally. It was a big job. It took over 2 days. You even gave up on the job when it became too tough for you. In the case of IEBC, they took 3 days, and they were not tallying on their own. They were tallying as they verify in the presence of the agents. And then the IEBC did something else. They opened the portal so that everyone could get the forms the moment they were uploaded. So that if indeed it is true, because it is a claim that is being made now, if indeed it is true that, number one, someone got access to the portal, then the logs of the server should be able to show it. And IEBC will be able to demonstrate, did anyone get access to the portal? Number two, if indeed someone uploaded, then downloaded the authentic forms and put in new forms, then the whole world should know, because there are many people who are downloading the forms as they kept being uploaded. And you did not need to download 46,000 forms, because they were collated together at a constituency level. So it was easy to download the forms. And then number three, if indeed there was a substitution of Form 34As, because the agents were meant to get copies of those Form 34As at the polling station just after the results were announced, then indeed they should be able to come and say, this is the form that the carbon copy that my agent got at such and such a polling station, just look at it. This is the form that has been uploaded. You can see the signatures are different. You can see the totals are different. And I can tell you, because in 2017, I handled an election petition in which my client, who was the petitioner, was actually able to show that the Form A's, this was a gubernatorial case, were different to the ones that eventually IBC had produced. But don't forget that in the case of the other elections, gubernatorial, member of National Assembly, and so on, the result declaration forms did not come to this public portal where we could access. So it was more possible to do mischief of exchanging. So it's almost as if IBC deployed a system which was meant to be more transparent than 2017 to shift the burden of proof to the person alleging shifting of or replacement of forms, substitution of forms, to be the one to demonstrate how it happened. And I'm not saying that it is not possible to demonstrate. It might be demonstrated, but now the burden of proof is on the petitioners to show that indeed this happened, and to be able to elaborate to the court the narrative of how it could have happened. Because IBC will just say, look, these are the result declaration forms. They are downloaded by people all over the place. Even yourselves as the media downloaded them. You may be ready to come in as interested parties and say, these are the ones we got. Are the ones that are being alleged to have been uploaded and downloaded, the genuine ones. So that is on the question of the substitution of the forms. But on the separate question about the tallies, that is a very weighty issue. It is a weighty issue because, again, the Supreme Court in 2017 said, we don't see any genuine, authentic reason why there can be a difference in the totals between presidential ballot, gubernatorial, Senate, women rep, if when you add up the totals and you include the spoiled and rejected votes, there is a difference. Then we need an explanation. The explanation may well be that there was some malpractice at the gubernatorial level or the Senate level, because maybe if there are differences in the votes, maybe the alteration was in those other votes. Maybe those ones which did not go to the public portal were altered. But the burden in that case will have shifted to IBC to explain why is there a difference in the totals. And it will not be enough for IBC to say, we don't know, because they have to give an explanation that is persuasive to the court. So if the reports are true, that there are significant differences in places like Homa Bay, in some places in Mount Kenya region, we don't know. Those are the claims that are being made by Azimio. But if those claims of differences in totals are true, the burden now shifts to IBC to explain, to give a cogent explanation, a clear narrative. How could this have happened if every voter receives 6 ballot papers? Even if they decide not to cast the vote for the other ballot seats, they still have to insert that ballot paper in the ballot box. So the 6 totals should match. And if they're not matching, that is now for IBC to explain how did it happen, because it's their officers, the returning officers, the presiding officers who have collated all these totals. So they'll need to give a logical explanation.
Okay. Carol, what is your textual reading of the situation?
I actually agree with Wakili, especially on the point number 2 that Azimio are raising.